This little girl has been late for school every day recently. Her teacher decided to meet her parents, but instead, the girl took the teacher to a prison. The teacher was shocked. It turned out this prison held the girl's only family member, her father, Yonggu. The teacher wanted to talk to Yonggu, but the teacher didn't know that Yonggu had the mind of a 6-year-old. And even worse, his imprisonment was actually the greatest injustice of the century. It all began a few days earlier. A little girl accidentally slipped on an icy slope. Her head hit a rock, and blood started pouring out. When Yonggu saw this, he quickly ran over, removed her clothes, and performed CPR, which he had learned from watching TV. A woman passing by saw this. She misunderstood the scene, thinking Yonggu was attacking the little girl, and immediately screamed and called the police. Soon after, the police arrested Yonggu, and he was wrongly accused of murder and assault. No one realized he was actually trying to save the little girl. Although Yonggu had low intelligence, he deeply loved his daughter, Yesung. The police saw how naive he was. They knew he wanted to go home to take care of his daughter. They tricked him into confessing, promising he could return home if he admitted guilt. So Yonggu confessed. Of course, the police never let him go home. The court sentenced him to death. That's how Yonggu ended up in prison. The prison chief, Jung Min, heard about Yonggu's crimes. He beat Yonggu viciously, then ordered him locked up in the notorious cell number 7. When Yonggu entered the cell, 5 hardened criminals were already there, waiting for him. There was a con man, a robber, and even a thug. The cell leader, Yang Ho, especially despised Yonggu. Seeing the new guy, Yang Ho asked Yonggu to sing a song. But as soon as Yonggu started singing, Yang Ho realized this guy had mental disabilities. How could someone like this commit such a serious crime? The prisoners grabbed Yonggu's sentencing paper, and seeing the terrible charges, they also beat him badly. After that, Yonggu was constantly isolated and despised by everyone. He often sat alone in a corner, writing his daughter Yesung's name repeatedly with a stick. Until one day, Yonggu noticed a strange man in prison. This man kept sharpening a toothbrush. The end of the toothbrush became sharper and sharper. The gang leader took the sharpened toothbrush and stood up. He led a group of followers, heading aggressively toward Yang Ho, the leader of cell number 7. Seeing this, Yonggu jumped to his feet. He rushed forward along with the attacker, heading straight for the unsuspecting Yang Ho. Yang Ho was tackled to the ground. Instead, Yonggu took the stab from the toothbrush. Realizing this, Yang Ho quickly fought off the attacker. Finally, prison guards arrived to break up the fight. When Yonggu later returned to his cell, things had changed. His cellmates kindly prepared his bed for him. Yang Ho, with a friendly tone, said, "You're a loyal guy. If you need anything, just ask." It turned out, Yang Ho knew everything about prison life. One day, during their exercise time, they purposely tossed a soccer ball over the fence. Soon, the ball was thrown back inside, and hidden inside was whatever item they requested. Under Yang Ho's expectant gaze, Yonggu whispered his daughter's name. He wanted Yang Ho to sneak his daughter into prison. Bringing a little girl into a maximum security prison? Impossible, right? But Yang Ho had a reputation to uphold. If he promised something, he delivered. So, Yang Ho quickly planned an elaborate smuggling mission. There was going to be a Christian performance inside the prison. Yonggu's daughter, Yesung, blended into the group of performers. After a short while, someone quietly took her away, put her in a large cardboard box, and smuggled her into cell number 7. When the prisoners opened the box, little Yesung was curled up inside, looking around nervously. Then she spotted her dad sitting in the corner. Papa! Yonggu crawled over to her, overcome with emotion, and hugged her tightly. Yesung cried, complaining about how long he'd been gone, and why he didn't tell her anything. Yonggu kept apologizing, saying he was sorry for making her worry. Just then, one of the prisoners panicked. If the guards found out, they'd all get extra sentences. Terrified, he called out to the guards, ready to confess. Yesung cried and begged him not to. The other prisoners quickly restrained him, desperately covering his mouth. But a guard had already heard the noise and approached their cell. Everyone froze nervously. They stared anxiously at the prisoner. Just as he was about to speak, Yesung, hiding behind the door, grabbed his hand. Her tearful eyes pleaded with him silently. Looking down at the innocent little girl, the man softened. Instead of confessing, he just asked the guard for an extra piece of bread. Everyone sighed in relief. After the guard left, Yesung rushed back into Yonggu's arms. This time, she was smart enough not to cry out loud. Then she asked quietly, "Daddy, are you a bad person?" Yonggu innocently replied, "They're all bad guys, but I'm not." For the first time, the prisoners felt ashamed of being labeled bad guys. Suddenly, something unexpected happened. The pastor leading the performance got sick and had to end the show early. Everyone boarded the bus and left. Now Yesung had no way to sneak out with the group. She had to stay temporarily in cell number 7. Yonggu and Yesung were thrilled, but the other prisoners were worried sick. Every day, they brainstormed ways to get Yesung out safely. They had to stay alert for sudden guard inspections. One small slip-up meant life sentences for everyone, yet none of them regretted bringing her in. Cell number 7, once a cold and gloomy place, was now filled with laughter and joy every day. Even these tough prisoners laughed like silly kids. They even danced along with the little girl. But happy times never last long. Eventually, prison chief Jang Min discovered Yesung. He dragged Yonggu outside the cell. It was raining heavily. Yonggu pleaded, "Please wait until the rain stops, or she'll catch a cold." Jang Min angrily grabbed Yonggu's collar and yelled, "You killed someone else's daughter, and you still dare to care about your own?" Yonggu repeatedly insisted he hadn't killed anyone, but Jang Min only beat him even harder. Then they locked him in solitary confinement, and all the other prisoners got punished too. Soon, the news of an outsider sneaking into prison spread. Another inmate took advantage of the chaos and set fire to his cell, demanding the guards bring his father into prison too. Chief Jang Min personally negotiated with him. As the fire grew bigger, he reluctantly agreed to the man's demands, but it turned out the prisoner didn't even have a father. He just wanted to vent his anger. All the prisoners were urgently evacuated, except for the inmate who started the fire, who stubbornly refused to leave. Desperate to save him, Jang Min ran into the fire. But everyone else was busy escaping, and nobody noticed that Jang Min was trapped. Just then, Yonggu happened to see this. Without hesitation, he rushed into the flames. When Jang Min woke up the next day, he was already in a hospital bed. The doctor said he was incredibly lucky. If it weren't for the man who risked his life, he would have been dead, and the man who saved him was none other than Yonggu, the prisoner he'd always held prejudices against. For the first time, Jang Min started to wonder, could someone this kind-hearted really be a murderer? Later, with the teacher's help, Yesung came to visit her father in prison. The moment they met, Yonggu noticed right away that Yesung had lost weight. He anxiously reminded her to eat more. Separated by the glass, father and daughter struggled to say goodbye. They talked endlessly about small things, cherishing every little moment together. But visiting hours quickly ended. The guards roughly pulled Yonggu away. Heartbroken, Yesung pounded on the glass, crying loudly for her dad to remember to eat more. Prison chief Jang Min saw everything clearly. He knew true love when he saw it. Could a father filled with such pure love really commit such a terrible crime? After the visit, Yesung ended up in the hospital. The doctor said it was severe emotional distress. Jang Min went to visit her. Sobbing, Yesung begged him, "Can you please put me in prison too? I'd rather go to jail than leave my dad alone." Hearing this, Jang Min quietly turned and walked away. Soon after, Jang Min made a bold decision. One day, cell number 7 received a special delivery. Looking at the large cardboard box, Yonggu absent-mindedly whispered his daughter's name. Beside him, Young Ho joked, "He's losing his mind." But suddenly, Yesung actually jumped out of the box. Overwhelmed, Yonggu hugged his daughter tightly. The prisoners stood there, speechless. The guard smiled and explained it was Jang Min's idea. Who knew the usually stern Chief Jang Min had such a soft heart inside? Laughter once again filled cell number 7. Those fierce inmates suddenly became gentle, loving uncles, telling stories to Yesung. Even the illiterate Young Ho started studying diligently. Inspired by this father-daughter duo, everyone began changing for the better. Later, Yonggu went to thank Jang Min personally. As Yonggu was leaving, Jang Min suddenly stopped him, asking, "Why did you kill that little girl?" Yonggu couldn't answer. How could someone with his mental state possibly explain himself clearly? That's when Jang Min decided to investigate the case himself. He got Yonggu's confession papers from the police. Reading it, he saw it was carefully written, way too clear and logical for someone like Yonggu. His friend at the police station advised him to drop it. After all, the victim was the police commissioner's daughter. But Jang Min refused. The deeper he investigated, the more doubts he found. Meanwhile, the prisoners in cell number 7 also analyzed the real cause of the girl's death. Listening to Yonggu's memories, they pieced together what really happened that day. They finally uncovered the truth. It turned out, that day the temperature was freezing and the ground was icy. The little girl accidentally slipped and hit her head on the rock. But why did Yonggu take off her pants? Well, it was just basic first aid, removing clothing to help circulation. Mouth to mouth was simply CPR. But the police were eager to find someone guilty, so they twisted basic first aid into evidence of assault. Desperate to quickly find someone to blame, they created this terrible injustice. Eventually, Jang Min went to the police commissioner, pointed out all the doubts, and asked to reopen the case. But the police commissioner, blinded by grief and anger, didn't care about the truth anymore. He just wanted someone, anyone, to pay for his daughter's death. Soon, it was time for Yonggu's final trial. This was his last chance to prove his innocence. The prisoners prepared a statement for him early. They made him practice over and over until he memorized every word. They checked him daily, terrified he might mess it up in court. Finally, the day of the trial arrived, but no one expected what happened next. When the judge asked Yonggu if he was guilty, he confessed to everything. The crowd exploded in anger. The teacher quickly covered Yesung's ears, trying to protect her from hearing the final verdict. In court, Yonggu kept apologizing. He begged the judge to take care of his daughter. It turned out that, just one day before, the police commissioner had visited Yonggu. He brutally beat him, threatening that if he didn't confess, he'd make sure Yonggu's daughter ended up like his own. Yonggu understood the threat clearly. To protect Yesung, he had no choice but to plead guilty. The final sentence was no surprise: death. But the prisoners refused to accept this result. They rallied every inmate in the prison, planning a daring prison break. Everyone eagerly joined the mission. One day, Yesung's teacher brought her entire class to perform for the prisoners. The children's innocent singing echoed through the prison, as if washing away every sin. After the performance, the kids stepped down and held hands with the inmates. At the front was Yesung, holding Yonggu's hand. As the doors opened, a giant hot air balloon waited on the rooftop, built overnight by the prisoners. The inmates surrounded Yonggu and Yesung, helping them into the balloon, then released it. As the balloon slowly rose, father and daughter waved goodbye. Only then did the guards realize something was wrong. They tried rushing forward, but the prisoners blocked their way. Just then, the balloon's rope got caught on the barbed wire fence. It stopped midair. Everyone stood stunned. Their escape plan had failed. Yet, in that quiet moment, Yonggu and Yesung peacefully watched the sunset, cherishing this fleeting happiness. The day of execution came. It was also Yesung's birthday. Everyone forced smiles, handing gifts to Yesung. She happily accepted each one. Last was Yonggu's present, the Sailor Moon backpack she'd always wanted. Yesung stood up and thanked him. "Thank you, Daddy, for bringing me into this world." She slowly knelt and bowed her head. Seeing this, Yonggu also knelt down, saying, "Thank you for choosing to be my daughter." Father and daughter hugged tightly. After celebrating her birthday, an unaware Yesung cheerfully said goodbye to everyone. Holding back tears, Yonggu thanked everyone 3 times for everything they'd done for him. Holding Yesung's hand, he walked out of the cell for the last time. Behind them were the names of the inmates, written as their final blessing. Eventually, an iron gate separated them. They began saying goodbye. Yesung's eyes were bright, filled with hope. She looked forward to seeing her dad again, but Yonggu's eyes held deep sorrow. He knew this was the last time he'd see his daughter. Finally, the guards took Yonggu away. At the corner, he made a silly face at Yesung. She smiled and waved goodbye. But after a few steps, Yonggu collapsed to the floor. Yesung was still at the bars, expecting her dad to jump out and surprise her like before, but not this time. Panicking, she began calling out, "Daddy!" Her cries shattered Yonggu's courage. The only thing scarier than death was knowing he could never watch his daughter grow up. He ran back, crying and hugging her, desperately screaming, "Help me! Please help me!" But this time, nobody could save him. Jiangmin watched silently, tears streaming down his face, helpless. The prisoners listened quietly, powerless, as the heartbreaking screams echoed. Not every kind soul gets rescued. This angel-like father left his daughter forever. Later, Jiangmin adopted Yesung, raising her with love and warmth. Many years later, Yesung became a lawyer, just as her dad had hoped. But she never forgot her father's injustice. She tracked down the former inmates of cell number 7, and she found Jiangmin too. They all stepped forward, testifying and fighting for Yonggu. One by one, Yesung presented evidence, repeatedly proving her father's innocence. With tears streaming down her face, she finally succeeded. The judge declared Yonggu innocent. After 15 long years, justice was served. Looking up at the snow falling gently from the sky, for a moment, Yesung imagined she saw a father and daughter waving from a hot air balloon, smiling warmly at her. Justice might be delayed, but it would never be denied.